Hey everybody, and welcome to Vietlog number 7. It's been about a week since the last one, so without further ado, let's just hop right in. And boy, what a frustrating and stressful and non-sleep filled week this has been. I think Sunday night I got 3 hours of sleep, Monday night I got 4 hours of sleep, Tuesday night I got 3 hours of sleep or 2.5 hours of sleep. And then Wednesday morning, I got another 3 hours of sleep, and it wasn't until Wednesday night, last night, that I was able to actually get real sleep. And there was something happening on Saturday, and I can't remember what it was, but there was some reason Saturday night that I only got 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I have no idea what it was. I don't remember why. Maybe I was just up streaming. I honestly don't remember why I didn't get any sleep on Saturday night. So I've been really exhausted and kind of cranky because of it. Because if I'm staying up for a week doing a marathon, that's one thing. I'm sitting here, I'm playing video games, I know I'm marathoning, the mindset is very different. But when you get 3 hours of sleep one night and then 3 hours of sleep the next night, and it's day 3, if I had been doing day 3 of marathon, no sleep, but it had been planned as a no sleep marathon, I would be pretty fine. Might be a little moody, might be a little cranky, but I would be able to keep it in check. But when you're unintentionally getting very little sleep, you get really fucking cranky, and you're just so my friend coming to town was great. I haven't seen them since I was teaching ballroom dancing in the United States in Santa Barbara, so I hadn't seen them in 5.5 years. God, 5 3/4 years, almost 6 years. But it was great to see them again. It's just a little frustrating because, again, no sleep. They show up on Monday morning. I didn't get any sleep from Sunday night because there's shenanigans, which was fantastic. Love shenanigans, but still gotta wake up early to clean the house for these people to get here because the house was a mess. And then hang out with them all day, and then go get very little sleep that night because we stay up late watching Planet Earth, and then we have to get up early to catch the ferry out to Kappa. But then our friends overslept, and so we missed the ferry by 3 minutes, and so then we wait another 2 hours to get the next ferry, and then we go out there and we do different things than we had planned because now we had missed our original appointments. But we still make it out there and find someone to take us out, and we go out and kayak around, and then we go and motorbike around. And there's a lot of arguing over money because, of course, Kappa's a really touristy area. It's one of the few touristy areas of Vietnam, and so wherever you go, people are trying to gouge you on prices. And it can be difficult. And there was an interesting thing when we were out there. We had brought some ibuprofen because Lauren, my wife, has been having back problems, or just weird back pain that we were a little bit afraid of because it was in the location of her kidneys. And anyway, again, there's always a constant. Someone is sick with something and no one knows what it is, and it's always a little bit terrifying. Either you've got a fever of 101 for 3 days, or you've got your kidneys are hurting unexplained, or you've got something, right? So the current crazy, strange illness that we don't understand or know about and can't get treated because there's no real, we haven't been able to find any real doctors around here. We've just kind of been treating with painkillers. Which have been working so far, and it's been great. I mean, we got some antibiotics, which, by the way you buy antibiotics in this country is you just go into a pharmacy and you tell them which antibiotics you want to buy, and they just give them to you. And they give you however many you want, and they charge you for it. So we got 5 days worth of amoxicillin for $1. And then, after running through our 5-day supply of amoxicillin, we went back and bought another 5-day supply of amoxicillin for $2. But of course, we're buying amoxicillin because we are having to look up what we think we're sick with and then figure out what to treat it with, and then you're having to be your own doctor, and it's really fucking weird as shit being I'm going to give myself these antibiotics because that's not how you do it in the West. But that's not I've told you about how the doctors here, right? How there's a person who came to our house oh, you're sick with, kind of tries to understand what we're sick with, and then she just gives you all these pills. It's these bundles of 10 pills that you're supposed to take twice a day, and once you actually go through them, you're okay, this is amoxicillin, this is a liver tonic, these 2 drugs don't have any English translation or English information about it, these are some steroid painkillers, these are some other crazy things, and you're just boom, here's all these drugs. have fun with them. We didn't get amoxicillin. We got some other sort of antibiotic. I don't remember exactly what it was. But the point is, the only way to actually get any sort of medicine is just to buy it yourself and like decide what you want for yourself. Which in our case isn't that bad because I don't want to go too into detail on what the current issues are, but we have a pretty good idea of what it is, and we know what sort of drugs we would have used to treat it in the United States because it's like a fairly common thing. So we could like actually go out and find the right drugs. But it's just weird and kind of nerve-wracking that, you know, people just can buy their own antibiotics and then use them, but not fully use them. I mean, this is why we have like antibiotic-resistant bacteria now, is because people will show up and be like, oh, I need drugs. I'm going to take 3 days worth of this. And then they'll take those drugs until they start feeling better. And then, of course, they don't finish a full cycle or, you know how long a full cycle even should be. And so then you end up with all these antibiotic-resistant drugs. Anyway, so crazy side tangent there. I'm trying to keep this short. The last time I tried to record this, it came out to be like 20 minutes long, and I don't like that. So, bacteria, drugs, oh, painkillers, right, we were talking about painkillers. So we had some ibuprofen while we were out with us in Kappa, and the guy who was driving our boat, and he was sitting next to us while we were having lunch, and he's looking at that, and he's like, oh, what are those? What are those? And he doesn't speak any English, we don't speak any Vietnamese, so I just try and like pantomime painkiller, like limping on my leg and going, ow, ow, and like pantomiming taking some pills and like walking around and be like, yeah, now I'm fine. He's like, oh, can I have some? And we're like, okay. And we're trying to be like, well, you should take 1 or 2, like only take 2 if you really need it, but you should just take 1 because it's kind of strong. And we're using Google Translate to try and talk back and forth with him a little bit, or like, you know, drawing and whatnot. And eventually he like gets a napkin and starts unfolding it and like, oh, this guy wants like a handful. And we had like a big ass jar of them, you know, hundreds of them. We don't need them all. So I give him like a big cap full of painkillers, and he's like super excited about these. And then we had like later Lauren and I have this long conversation like, well, why is he super psyched to get painkillers? They're not expensive. Like clearly we got 5 days worth of antibiotics for $1 for 20,000 dong. But maybe out on Kappa Island, like it's impossible to get. Or hey, maybe this guy doesn't even live on the island. He might live in one of the boat villages, which are like literally floating villages. Like people set up these little shacks that float on the water, and then they like do pearl farming or fish farming or whatever out there. And then you have like shack after shack after shack all connected together, and you end up with these like floating villages. They're really cool. But you know, if you live on one of those villages, you might have to go actually onto Kappa Island itself to get any sort of drugs or food or anything, right? But then Kappa Island itself is kind of a small place, and there's not much going on there, so whatever pharmacy you have on Kappa Island has to be imported from the mainland, which then in turn has to be imported from somewhere else. So it might just be like really hard to get, or maybe it's expensive out there, or maybe, we don't know, but he was like super psyched to get some painkillers, which was interesting and whatever. Anyway, this is starting to get really long, and we're going to have to blaze through the next couple of events. My friends leave. I've got Gems of Power, because they leave on Tuesday. I've got Gems of Power Tuesday night at like 10, and so we show up at 10 for the Q&A, which we didn't need an hour for a Q&A for Gems of Power. I love Chucky, but, you know, we didn't need an hour for the Q&A. We had like 2 questions from chat. And the rest of us was like, the time was us joking around, which is fine. It's totally legitimate for us to just hang out. But, you know, you can't be doing hour-long Q&As when you don't have enough people asking questions for an hour-long Q&A. I understand the desire to have that precedent set and to do that and to kind of build into that, but that's kind of whatever. Gems of Power itself did not go as well as I had hoped. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil things here, so figure out whether you want to watch this or whether you want no spoilers for Gems of Power. I had a character who died, which, frankly, I don't care about character death. Like, I love making new characters. I don't care if my characters die. But the way in which he ended up dying was really frustrating to me. I kind of felt like I just got bussed. Yeah, fuck it, let's just go into it. So Justin was the new DM, and there's kind of like some jokes going on about the character I had, Reginald Scale Splitter, where the rest of the party's calling him Reggie, and he doesn't like being called Reggie, and he's like this noble, and the only thing he ever has like put any faith in or like even talked about being cool was his family. Like, oh yes, I am from the Scale Splitter family. I am a noble. All of you filthy peasants. Like, that's kind of his shtick, so to speak. Is he's like this refined noble, and these peasants just aren't worth his time, and whatever. I'll work with them because they'll help me get to my goals. Anyway, so we go back to his hometown. He's like, oh, I'll put you up in my family's house. Don't worry, my family will take care of us. We can do all these things. I can use my family connections. And then, like, as we get to my family's house, everyone treats my character like a joke. Like, everyone's, he'll say something like, oh, you need to keep an eye on this person. Like, no one takes anything he has to say seriously. Everyone completely disregards him and calls him, like, Reggie, which he doesn't like. And he goes to meet his mom, and everyone's like, oh, yes, Reginald, oh, whatever you're saying is completely bullshit. We're going to believe all of your friends who you're bringing along for the first time and completely ignore everything you're saying. Like, completely disregards him. Everyone calls him Reggie, and, like, the servants that are working for him, he tries to reprimand, and like, oh, haha, it's just you. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm not joking. Like, literally, you're fired. You can't be like this. You need to keep an eye on this person. This person's literally a thief. And then people are just like, oh, ha, 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 I'm not going to take you seriously. And then, like, my mom's character apparently is just ridiculous, which is not bad, but it was really frustrating having, like, the only thing my character cared about being his family, the only thing he held in any respect or esteem to be his family. And then, like, when he shows up to his family's place, they all take him to be, like, a complete laughingstock and a joke, and no one takes him seriously. And, which was hilarious, by the way, for everybody except for me, because, like, Reginald's character was coming in, like, it's the ultimate, like, he's trying to do something and failing at it, but he's failing at it in, like, a way that doesn't require any dice rolls, in a way that's, like, I have no control over. It's like, oh, you want to have this relationship with your family, or you want to, like, try and do something? Well, we're just going to make everything you do fail miserably and just laugh at you while you do it. Which is really fucking frustrating. Like, that's cheap thrills. That's, like, it's destroying my character's reputation, or destroying, like, anything my character might want to do for laughs. Which is not bad. Like, it's okay to... It is bad. It's terrible. It's wrong. And it's okay to, like, make jokes about characters. And it's okay to, like, play up these different things. But when the DM, like, unilaterally is like, ha ha ha, let's all have, like, a great laugh at this character's expense while I, like, trash their backstory and, like, make the only thing that they've seemed to care about completely backfire on them. It's really fucking frustrating. And then, like, I go out to my favorite bar where no one takes me seriously either, and, like, completely mocks me, and then I, like, try and leave and do something else, and then Chucky's character's like, no, I have to talk to you right now, and, like, of course, a series of, like, really poor dice rolls screws me further, and then things just, like, fell apart, and I got pretty cranky and frustrated, but I probably wouldn't have been nearly cranky and frustrated and as upset if I had gotten some fucking sleep. So, I overreacted, probably, but I got really frustrated with Justin for trashing my character like that. I've got a new character who is built in a way that you can't trash him. He's fucked from the beginning. Like, you can't destroy this character's reputation because he's the anti-Reginald. He is the all I do is kill things, and I have, like, no backstory and no personality, and I'll do whatever anyone else wants, and you can't trash me because I'm already a piece of shit, spineless, worthless person. Which is kind of what I feel I have to do in order to survive a campaign, apparently, or to enjoy a campaign, because if I'm going to, like, make a character that I think is interesting and cool, apparently they'll just get wrecked for laughs. So that's that frustrating thing. Oh god, this is getting too long again. And then we had misclicks a few hours after that, which kind of didn't work out well because none of the misclicks cast had made characters with me beforehand because they almost all died, which was really frustrating because I said to all of them, being like, hey guys, I will make myself available whenever you have time to make a character for you. So just let me know when you have time to make a character, and I will, like, clear my schedule so we can do this, because misclicks is important to me, and having characters for misclicks is important to me, and if we're going to be continuing with Outbreak, we need to make our characters beforehand. And then we get, like, most of the way through the week, and no one's done it, and so Sunday night, I'm like, guys, we need to make characters for this. When are you available? And then everyone's like, oh, I'm so sorry we didn't make characters. I was so busy, and everyone was so busy. And it's like, okay, I understand you're busy, but if you want misclicks to be a fucking priority, if we want to do the show, you need to, like, carve out some time in your day to make the characters. Of course, I don't say that because I'm never that blunt with people, although I probably should be. And so eventually one of them is like, all right, well, I'll make a character with you. What day works for you? I'm like, all right, let's do it on Sunday before I have my game. So, you know, we work out a time. And it's one of those things where I end up saying, like, let's do it at this time, and then I don't get a reply back, but it was like in the middle of a conversation. And so the day and time rolls around, and I skip my friend's housewarming party to like come and make a character for Misclicks, and then I get stood up, and then I'm like, hey, what the hell? We had like, you know, you didn't show up, and I skipped a party, like my friend's housewarming party, to do this, where all of our other friends were. And then it's like, oh, sorry, we never like verified the actual time. Like we never agreed on the time. You just set a time, and I never responded. So I'm sorry, but you know, we never agreed. It's like, it's really frustrating because I know we never agreed, but you never replied. What was I supposed to do? Like tell you a time and then just not show up myself because you never bothered to reply. So I don't know. It's been really frustrating. And then we did Misclicks, and then we were all making characters on stream, but everyone was kind of like in a bad mood anyway, because everyone still has like a bad taste in their mouth over what happened the previous week with their characters dying, because everyone loved their characters. They were really cool. I really loved the previous characters, and we're all still kind of continuing with Outbreak, even though Outbreak is, I don't know, like, I don't want to give up on Outbreak. I don't want to end it now because I've already put so much work into this. I would feel bad ending it because I have so much left to do with it. But then we made characters on stream, and they didn't work out as well as anyone had hoped. No one was really that into it, and it kind of feels flat and dull, and it's really frustrating because I really do like Misclicks. It's a show that I feel very invested in it, and I really like the cast. Anna, I've gotten really close with Anna over the last couple of years. My wife and I have gotten close with Anna and Jeff, kind of. I mean, you know, we're not like BFFs, but Anna came to our wedding. She went to Lauren's bachelorette party. Like, we would hang out. She would, you know, I really enjoy hanging out with Anna. I really like Jess, Steph, and Jen. Like, I've been playing with Jen for years now, and Steph's super cool, and Jess is super cool. So I really like the cast. I really like the show, and it feels really frustrating to have people not make characters, like not take an hour out of their week to make a character with me, or to like plan something and then blow it off. And then to kind of like everyone shows up last minute and is exhausted, and like no one's really in a mood to make characters. And it's really frustrating. Especially when people's excuses are things like, oh, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to waste your time by like talking with you about these things. But like we've spent 2 hours making characters before. We need to sit down and do this. Like, it's not wasting my time. We're working together. I understand I don't know. It can be really frustrating being a DM. And I know I'm talking like Misclicks in particular, but this isn't like today. This problem is about Misclicks, but this has been a problem about every single show for all time. You know, it's always a problem to create characters, because unless people are playing a show, they're not thinking about the show, and so no one ever plans out in advance like time to make the character. Except Jeff. Jeff is really good about like, okay, we're going to make a character. Let's make an appointment at this time, and then we'll both be there at this time, and then we'll just make a character, and we'll go through it, and it's done. And he's like really efficient and really great at scheduling things, which is strange. No, you know, because Jeff is great, but he doesn't strike me, of all the people in all the D&D shows that I do, I'm surprised that Jeff is the one who's like the most efficient and most like time sent. Like, boom, I'll be here at this time, and we'll just do this thing, and it's done and perfect. And like, no offense to Jeff, like, he's a great guy, I love Jeff, but it's just kind of strange that he's the most efficient one of them all. So being a DM can be frustrating because you'll have players who don't show up at time. And I know I've been talking about Misclicks and Gems of Power and Justin specifically in today's vlog, but I want you guys to understand that this is not unique to Justin or unique to the Misclicks cast. Like, this shit happens all the time. It just all happened like coincide this week on top of like not having slept and having to run a bunch of errands, none of which worked, like trying to buy a motorbike, you know, someone stands me up, and then the next time we try and do it, there's like weird communications issues, and the people who are supposed to meet me there don't meet me there, and then they take me to buy new bikes instead of used bikes, and then when I tell them we want used bikes, then it's like, okay, well, I'll see you in a couple of days, and then it's very confusing, then trying to translate that our air conditioner's broken to the security guard, so he can tell the handyman doesn't work, and so you have to pantomime everything, and then they say, I'll see you in a day. And then like 2 days later, you try and go talk to them again, and the issue's still not fixed. It's like things that should take like this long to fix take this long to fix. And it's just like a constant frustration. So it's been a really long week is what I'm trying to get at. And even though I tried to cut this down to be shorter than 20 minutes, it's still 20 minutes again, and I don't know how many more times I can try and refilm this. So we're probably just going to just publish this now and have it be long-winded and blabbering. But the point of all of this is here it is Thursday. I can stream all day today, but I am like exhausted and wiped. And if I go upstairs and try and work and stream, I'm gonna be like playing games like, okay guys, we're gonna go around the corner and we're gonna kill this thing, and then we're gonna try and level up properly, and then we're gonna try and buy some more tomes to get higher stats, and then we're just gonna kill. Like I have no energy, I have no life to stream from. So I'm probably just gonna spend the day like sleeping and watching movies and trying to recuperate from the like exhausting week that I've had. And that's Vietlog number 7. Way longer than I intended. It is now 9 a.m. I have been filming this since 8:20 a.m. This is like my 4th take at filming this. The first one came out at 17 minutes, then a couple canceled earlier. Now we're at 21 minutes. So enjoy the super long Vietlog, and I will see you guys later with another one with some more interesting events of my time here. So bye-bye. See you guys later.